Good afternoon, folks. Robert Chappell here, Executive Editor, Madison365, with your daily update for Monday, the 13th of December. It is Monday, which means it is Metcalf's Monday. Metcalf's is a fourth-generation, family-owned and operated market with stores in Madison at Hilldale and behind the Westtown Mall, and in Wauwatosa at 68th and State. Right now, they are stocked with everything you'll need for an amazing holiday meal. Local hams, roast, turkey, all the sides, and don't forget dessert. Order for pickup or delivery anytime at shopmetcalfs.com. And we'll talk about some COVID numbers in a few minutes that would maybe lead you to want to order your groceries online still after almost 2 years in this pandemic. The update today is also brought to you by Grace, which is founded in 1978, a nonprofit, community-supported healthcare organization dedicated to providing high-quality care and support to people who are aging, ill, dying, or grieving. With offices in Madison, Janesville, Baraboo, Dodgeville, and now Oconomowoc, Grace serves nearly 1,500 patients and clients across southern Wisconsin every day. And we appreciate Metcalf's and Grace for their support of Madison365 and of the update. We're going to talk in a few minutes at the end of the show here. We'll talk a little bit about how you can also support the nonprofit journalism and media that we do. But before we get to that, let's talk about some COVID numbers, and then we'll get to some local news. The 7-day average of new cases is the number that kind of pops out to me today. This number has been on the lower side. It's been in like the 3,100 range in the past week or so, primarily because last week, Monday, Tuesday, there was no data. There were some data processing issues with the state. And then the data we had for the rest of the week was low because there was basically still inputting tests results from the week before. So even with only 1,545 new cases today, only 1,500 cases today. Mondays are always lower. Excuse me. Even with just 1,545 cases today, the 7-day average is now up to 3,457. So almost 3,500 cases per day in the past 7 days, right? Well over 25,000 cases confirmed in the past week. Okay, is that right? 3,400 times 7. Yeah, 2,400. First time in my life I've done math in my head and it was right. 24,199 cases just in the past 7 days. The positive test rate is slightly lower. Yesterday, over the weekend, I should say, Saturday now they're saying was 12.2%. The 7th, which would have been last week Wednesday, we kind of peaked at 12. No, sorry, the 1st of December, we peaked at 13.7, and it's been coming down since then. Today, it's reported at 11.7%. That's still really, really high. We need of all the tests over a 7-day period, you want no more than 3% to come back positive, right? If you get 3% or below, that means you're testing way more people than you have to, right? Which is good. You want to test everybody all the time. Just test. And hopefully you do enough testing so that the 1,500 cases you have in a day or the 3,500 cases you have every day makes up only like 3% of the tests you're doing. That's not the case we're at right now, right? We're still testing a lot, like 30,000 tests a day, but 11.7% of them are positive. That's very, very bad. That's very high and very bad. Now, but bright side, it's on the way down. As I mentioned, 2 weeks ago, week and a half ago, today's the 13th. So the 1st of December, we're at 13.7. And that's kind of been the peak for this month, and it's coming on the way down. 11.7% on the way down is much better than 11.7% on the way up. As simple as that. Now, hospitalizations today, not looking great. We haven't been for a while, for last couple of months. We're actually not that much higher in the last day. Only 28 more people hospitalized today as opposed to yesterday. But 152 more just in the past week. So now we're at 1,714 people hospitalized. That's the first time we've been over 1,700 this year, I think. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, yes, it is definitely the first time we've been over 1,700 this year. We peaked last year in December at 2,200, almost 2,300 actually. So we're kind of headed that way right now. 443 of those 1,714 people are in the ICU. That's an increase of just under 10% in the past week. We do have slightly more ICU beds available right now than we did last week. We're at 57. That's for the entire state of Wisconsin. There are 57 ICU beds available, and strangely, that's an improvement. Right? At one point last year, we were down to 37. We're still 96% occupied in the ICUs. Now, those aren't all COVID patients. As I mentioned, those are 443 of those are COVID patients. Without those COVID patients, we'd have almost 500 ICU beds available. ICU beds are intended or are used for a variety of purposes. People coming out of surgery, people who have had heart attacks, right? People who are in high-risk pregnancy situations, those kind of things. And those folks are taking up a lot of those beds. But I think my understanding is that there's a concerted effort to keep people out of ICUs who don't have COVID. They're discharging people more quickly. They're putting people into regular beds when they maybe should be in ICU. They're canceling surgical procedures to keep those beds available. Now, on another problem is we only have 18 intermediate care beds available in the entire state of Wisconsin. That's 2% of the normal capacity. And we have 220 medical and surgical beds available, which is about 3.5% of the total capacity. So our hospitals are operating at about 97, 98% capacity right now. That's not great. Part of that is actual physical beds available, but it's also partly staff. And FEMA is apparently, we're told, sending staff relief, nursing staff, medical staff, to pitch in and help increase the capacity of some of these hospitals. I'll also mention that the daily average of COVID deaths is now 23. It was 21 on Friday, so not a big jump. That's 5 new confirmed deaths on Sunday. Kind of a lot for a Sunday. We're now 9,381 total deaths confirmed, 1,044 total probable deaths. For context, the leading cause of death in Wisconsin is heart disease, which causes 31 deaths per day year-round. Right, so it's very likely that soon COVID will overtake that as leading cause of death for a shorter period. Right, heart disease is 31 deaths year-round. COVID is 31 deaths in winter per day. So it's not as many. It's not the leading cause of death for the year, but there'll be a couple of months. There was a couple months last year, November, December last year into January. There will be a couple of months, maybe December through February, where COVID is the leading cause of death for that period of time, which won't be, would prefer not to see that. So that is the COVID situation for right now. Again, not great. We're catching up on the data, which is good. I mean, it's good that we have the data again this week, which we didn't have last week. We also do not know about Omicron yet in Wisconsin. Really, we know there's a handful of cases that have been identified. We will get a variant update on Thursday. I don't expect to see Omicron in that update until at least next week or the week after, just because when they give us the variant report, it's almost always from 2 or 3 weeks earlier. So this week's variant report will actually be like last week of November, first week of December, which we wouldn't have seen Omicron yet really in Wisconsin at that point. There's some indication that Omicron is definitely more transmissible, but perhaps slightly less severe. So, fingers crossed that that's true. we will see how that affects Wisconsin in the coming month or two. All right, we're going to take a short pause. I have lots of local news for you. I have a couple of good, positive, happy stories for you, as well as some really important Madison school board news for you. So we will be right back right after this. Do not scroll away. Give me 30 seconds. We'll be right back.
Apply yourself. At Madison College, we encourage you to be your truest self. You're a trendsetter. Whether it's the clothes you're wearing, the music you're listening to, or the new game you're playing, you're into it first. Friends and family seek your advice because you're a natural-born leader. For you, life is all about taking things to the next level. And at Madison College, we can't wait to see what you do. Apply yourself today.
All right, we are back. Thank you for sticking with us. On Friday, I went to Sun Prairie High School to see this guy, Ajmu Alanian, inducted into the Wall of Success there at Sun Prairie. They've been doing it 25 years now. Since 1996, they honor a distinguished alumnus by putting a plaque on the Wall of Success. Ajmu Alanian is the first person of color to receive that honor in 25 years. He was known as Dean Cash as a Sun Prairie student. He still holds the triple jump record for Sun Prairie High School, and he held that record for a while with the WIA, the statewide record for a while. He went on to UW La Crosse, where he got a bachelor's degree and a master's degree, and 9 NCAA track championships. And today he's finishing his PhD in human performance at Concordia University. He's a teacher, a science teacher at Milwaukee Public Schools, and runs his own gym called Top Flight Performance. And it was really nice to talk to him. He's got some really interesting things to say. My favorite, what I put in the headline of the story, is "Be you, the world will adjust." I really like that. So some more photos and some snippets, some quotes from his speech in the story there on Madison365.org right now. Also today on the website, UW senior. This is a big deal, you guys. UW senior Lydia Nyachio, I hope I'm saying that right. Nyachio is a Marshall Scholar. There were 1,000 finalists from public and private colleges and universities across the United States for Marshall scholarships. She is one of 41 to receive that scholarship, which will allow her to do graduate study in the United Kingdom. She's a part of the People Program, the UW-Madison's pre-college enrichment opportunity program for learning excellence, people. She's the editor and staff writer for the Wisconsin International Review, which is an undergraduate research magazine. And she is going to earn a master's degree. Her intention is to use a scholarship to earn a master's degree in international development through the Global Development Institute at the University of Manchester. So congratulations to Lydia. Also in the news today, Ananda Murilli, shown here on the right with her daughter Brianna on the left, has been a school board member since 2019 and has announced today that she will not seek a second term, citing she lost her mother to COVID and her daughter lost her father to COVID, and it's just been taken a real toll on them. And being a school board member through this period of time, as you can imagine, has been very difficult and taxing. So she has decided. She tried talking to me a couple times, and I kept getting really emotional about it. So we've got that announcement exclusively at Madison365.org. I got to talk to her earlier today, and she, sort of regretfully, is not going to run for a second term on the school board. However, Nichelle Nichols is going to run for her seat and has Ananda's endorsement. Nichelle was the executive director for partnerships, engagement, and equity at the school district for 6 years. She is now working with the National Equity Institute, and she's been an academic person basically her whole career with the Boys and Girls Club, with the Urban League, and some other institutions, as well as the school district. She's had 4 kids go through the school district, and she is going to run. She's going to throw in her hat for the school board. She just filed the paperwork today, and will be collecting signatures and getting their campaign up and running shortly. The spring primary, if there are more than 2 candidates, it's a nonpartisan primary in February, which means just that you got 3 or 4 people running for the same seat. These are not districts, right? These are all at-large seats. So there's 3 seats out of the 7 that are up for re-election this spring. Ali Muldrow is running for re-election. Chris Carusi is not running for re-election, and neither is Ananda Murilli. So in each of those seats, they'll if there's more than 2 candidates, there'll be a primary in February, and the top 2 vote getters move on to the general election in April. If there are only 2, there's no primary; they just go in April. So April 5th, I think, is the general election for Madison School Board, as well as County Board and City Council and all those things. Local elections matter. Your local school board, City Council, County Board have more impact on your day-to-day life than the president does. Yet, Facebook, we're always arguing about the president, right? So pay attention to your local school board. Read the coverage, right? I've got a story. I talked to Nichelle exclusively. She came to us first because, Ananda came to us first. Nichelle came to us first because they know we're going to tell the story right. And we're going to continue to follow the campaign so you can be informed, so you can vote in an informed way. We're not going to tell you who to vote for. Whereas a nonprofit, we can't endorse candidates. But we're going to keep you informed so when you decide for yourself who you're going to vote for, you are armed with the information. Right? Now, that's the kind of thing you should support if you can. Right? As I mentioned just now, we're a nonprofit newsroom. But this journalism that we do every day, we're the first to report these school board races. We're going to continue to follow them. We're going to continue to keep you informed on where these candidates stand on the issues and what their experience has been and that kind of thing. And that's not free. We're gonna make it free for you. It's always free for you because it doesn't make sense. It would not make sense at all for only people with money to be informed about their elections. Right? Everybody can vote, so everybody should be informed. That's just makes sense, right? Not just people who can afford it. So it's free for you, but it's not free for us. Right? We pay people to do this journalism. It's professional journalism. And so we need your help to close that gap. So if you could subscribe $5 a month, we invite you to do so by joining what we call the fam. And I just put a link in the comments for you. You can join for $5 a month, $10 a month, $25 a month, whatever you want to do, actually. And here's the nice thing about it. Not only does it'll just disappear from your bank account every month, and you may not miss it, depending how rich you are. But also, there's 2 different programs right now. Well, there's one program, News Match is the program, but there's 2 different pots of money that are going to match what you give us right now. So literally every dollar you offer right now for us gets tripled. You give us $5, we get 15. You give us $100, we get 300. Okay, and it's your entire year-long commitment. So if you join the fam for $5 a month, you're committing to $60 over the course of the year, right? Newsmatch will give us another $120. So your $5 a month turns into $180 to support nonprofit news. So please do that. Please think about it. If you've been thinking about it, now's the time, right? Because you have a massive impact with a relatively small donation, which, by the way, is tax deductible because we're a nonprofit. We're legit, like real life nonprofit. So think about it. Go to that website. You can see the benefit. You get some perks, right, for joining the fam, and we'd appreciate that if you would think about it. So that is all I have for you today. I appreciate your attention, really do. We'll be back tomorrow with more news for you from Madison365. And until then, I hit that too early. My mouse finger was a little quick. Have a wonderful evening. We'll talk to you soon.
This is 365 Media.